Coming up on MCTV this week, an alumni who stands at the intersection of business and science, and high-tech laughs for Family Weekend. This week starts now. Hello and welcome to MCTV This Week. For Janessa Calderon, I'm Cameron Lyon. The new Science and Business Center welcomed its first speaker to campus last week, who truly does stand at the center of science and business. Last Thursday, CEO and co-founder of iVision, Gabe Damiani, spoke about how he started his company. iVision is a technology integration and management firm that has been recognized by Inc. magazine as one of America's 500 fastest growing private companies.
Focus on the why, right? The customers that you're serving, and I think a lot of times people approach things with a little bit of ego, because at the end of the day, it's about the customers you're serving and the people that you work with that make this thing we call life an amazing ride.
Prior to his leadership roles at iVision, Damiani held various leadership positions in IT at AT&T and the American Cancer Society.
As a part of Family Weekend, a different kind of musical group came to the Doll Chapel. Relating themselves to the Blue Man Group, Autobody gives the audience a mix of comedy, music, and intense light show. Autobody has performed around the world, including 3 performances at the White House.
Yeah, it's because we build everything in the show ourselves and we write all the programming and everything ourselves, it's not always going smooth.
Yeah, it malfunctions often, but that's why it's sort of part of the show. We can kind of deal with things. There's things that happen all the time that people think is part of the show, which is really mistakes, but it all kind of folds together because that's sort of the idea of the show. It's this great big experiment.
For more information on Autobody, go to their website on autobody.com.
This year's Family Weekend kicked off with Boom, a music-driven comedy duo.
Like Gavin Costello, he's crazy.
Boom's performance included a variety of elements such as music, comedy, drama, and of course some help from the audience. The LA-based group started off as a high school fundraiser.
Together like an hour-long show for a high school, and a lot of it was math, but some was really great.
It was really good.
It was amazing. It was incredible. And we kept a lot of the material, and we were like, hey, this is actually, we put a lot of time into it, so we like kind of snowballed over a couple of years of doing shows for our family and friends in our high school into something that was actually, wow, this is really good. This is really something important.
To learn more about Boom and future performances, you can visit them at their Facebook page, facebook.com/thedakaboom.
Taking a look at some events on campus this week. This Wednesday, as part of the continuing Muslim Journey series, the film Prince Among Slaves will be shown at 7 p.m. in the electronic classrooms downstairs of the Hughes Library. October's Coffee House and Open Mic, hosted by ASAP, will be in the Underground this Thursday at 9 p.m. And this Friday, Strange Like Me, a dramatic dialogue about racism, sexism, and homophobia on college campuses will be underway at 7 p.m. in the Doll Chapel.
Coming up in sports, Family Weekend rolled in. We'll see if the Scots rolled next. Fighting Scots took on the Cornell Rams on a soggy Family Weekend. The Scots jumped out to an early lead at the 12:51 mark in the first quarter after kicker Ace Hendricks nailed a 33-yard field goal following a long completion to C.J. Shields on the Scots' opening drive. The Scots looked like they were in control, about to go up 10-0 in the first quarter, as a costly fumble by Shields led to a 49-yard field goal by Cornell that just sneaked over the crossbar. The Scots' next drive was riddled with penalties, including the Stefan Flynn touchdown that was called back due to a holding call on the line of scrimmage. The first quarter ended with a score tied at 3. The Scots got off to a strong start in the second quarter with a drive resulting in this Trey Yoakum touchdown run, putting the Scots up 10-3. Yoakum had 192 rushing yards and 1 touchdown on the day, bringing his season total to 482 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns through only 3 games. Yoakum continued his strong running day, which kept the next Scots drive alive and allowed for this touchdown pass from Winnikin to Shields with 7:57 left in the second quarter, putting the Scots up 17-3. Cornell was threatening late in the half, but Jacob Wilson came up with an impressive interception with 5:08 left, but the Scots gave the ball back on an untimely interception on the ensuing drive. The defense held strong as Michael Lafferty intercepted the ball with 1:56 left in the half. The Scots ran the ball until the half ended with Scots on top, 17-3. The Scots defense continued where it left off with an interception by A.J. Myzik on the Rams' opening drive in the third quarter. The offense stalled, however, and settled for another field goal by Hendricks with 13 minutes left in the third quarter. Unfortunately, that would be the last time the Scots scored as the Rams went on to win 23-20. The Fighting Scots look to rebound off the loss as they travel to De Pere, Wisconsin to take on the St. Norbert Green Knights this Saturday at 1 p.m. After a tough loss to Augustana College, the Scots volleyball team looks to fire back against Grinnell College. Starting the first set, the Scots battle tough against Grinnell with fierce play to gain the advantage after the first set. Despite the Scots' tough play, Grinnell would play smart and use tough blocks to come back to win a set. After 4 sets of play, tied at 2-2, both teams looked to hold on to win the last set to gain another conference win. The Lady Scots to hold on for the victory with the win the last set 15-13.
It was a win that we needed. We've had several losses in a row playing some really good teams, and this still was a team that was a whole lot taller than us, but it was definitely a win that we needed. We needed to have.
The volleyball team will take on Beloit College this Friday as they look to improve to 7-9 on the season. The women's soccer team fell short in the second period against the University of Dubuque on Wednesday. Even though the Fighting Scots were short 3 starters due to injuries, the Scots were finally able to score in the first half after junior Lauren Kellen scored her 13th goal of the season, assisted by freshman Adrea Correa. The Spartans and the Scots were tied at halftime. The Scots were unable to score any more goals in the second half. The Spartans defeat the Scots with a score of 3-1.
Tonight, coming into the game, we knew we weren't going to be full force. 3 of our starters are out from injuries from this weekend. The players who came off the bench today, they performed very well. They played very strong. We stuck with them for a half, but it just wasn't enough to finish off the game.
Next, the Scots will face Central tomorrow at 2 p.m. There's a look at sports. Here are your scores for this week. That's it for MCTV this week. I'm David Beidel.
And I'm Janessa Calderon. Make sure you tune in next week for another new edition of MCTV.
And remember, you can find us on the web 24 hours a day and 7 days a week at monmouthcollege.edu/MCTV. I'm Cameron Lyon, and that's been the news for this week.